When I was growing up, you saw the previous page where it was a comparison page. Blue wishes he could be more sunny like yellow or bright like green. That was very much me. I grew up in an area that for some reason there weren't very many kids at all that looked like me. And going further, because I had a tough time to think about this, my parents were interned during World War II in the camps. I don't know how many of you know about that, based on the way they looked. And they spent, the Japanese Americans had to give up their homes and carry only what they could in their two hands. And that's what happened to my parents. And there was a few different reactions, of course, from that, the result of that. But what happened to my parents is I believe that they really wanted to take their kids to a place where they thought we would have the best chance of being as Americanized as possible. And I grew up, and I know this is so bizarre to say this, but it's true. I grew up wishing that I had blonde hair and blue eyes, or red curly hair and green eyes. You know, we wish these things about ourselves. You know, being taller, skinnier, better at sports, better at this. But I wish that I looked different. And to the point where I actually recall getting a glance, you know, in the mirror every once in a while, like just passing by something and being surprised that I was Asian. And to deny that in my own head is so amazing that I did that, but I know that I remember clearly that I did that. And the reason I'm bringing this up is when I was called names later in junior high based on my appearance, because the kids didn't know me and where all the elementary schools were combining, I remembered being so hurt and shocked because that's exactly what red is doing. He's hitting to the core, the way that blue is, just the way blue is born, you know. He says it's all about tone and attitude. Sometimes yellow comforted blue. Blue is a very nice color, she'd say. But yellow never said that in front of red. She never said, you know, hey, stop picking on blue. Green, purple, and orange thought blue was nice too, but they never told red to stop either. I'll ask the question of kids, and I'm going to just ask the same of you. Does anybody think that maybe I wrote the story of one because I was a blue? Just with a quiet show of hands. Does anybody think that maybe I wrote the story because sometimes I was a red? And I actually did pick on other people as well. And I made poor choices sometimes. Does anybody think I was a red? Does anybody think that maybe I wrote the story because actually I was a one? And I saw someone being picked on a long time ago, and I stood up for them, and I was a one. Does anybody think that? Okay, here's the truth. I was not like any of those characters. I was like green, purple, and orange who did not like what they saw, but did not know what to do. Green, purple, and orange has a huge impact on these big issues. Every time Red said something mean and no one spoke up, he got bigger and bigger and bigger. Soon Red grew so big that everyone was afraid of him. No one dared stop him. Red picked on all the colors. Then everyone felt a little blue. Until one comes along. You know, he has a different shape with bold strokes and square corners. He was funny. He made the colors laugh. Red saw this and got very hot. Stop laughing, he told yellow. Stop laughing, he told who? Stop laughing, he told purple. And they did. Red rolled up to one. Stop laughing, he told him. But one stood up straight like an arrow and said what? No. That was the perfect no, by the way. In my session, I brought this up as well. It's also, we're not screaming no. Not yet, right? He's not rolling everybody, but what we're doing, same with language and tone, is no. I'm not going there with you, Red. Red was mad, but one wouldn't budge, so Red rolled away. One turned to the colors and said, if someone is mean and picks on me, I, for one, stand up and say no. Then yellow felt brave and said, me? 2. Green agreed and said, me? 3. Then purple became 4. And orange became 5. Blue saw the colors change. He wanted to count. This communications expert read my mock-up and she said, it's a really good story, but it could be so much more. Kathryn, what about red? And I'm like, there's that question again. I don't know. Her name's Ellen Dodge. Ellen, I don't know. And she said, I know exactly. She's a communications expert, right? So she communicated this perfectly to me. She said, Kathryn, I've written books too, and I know what you're feeling. You're worried you want to get this to press. But she said, if you truly want your story to be about acceptance and tolerance, you need to look back at your words. Sometimes it's just one word that can make a difference. So here's the next page. Blue calls out, can red be hot and blue be cool? That page that I had you read aloud, Blue stands up tall and he says, red can be really hot, but blue can be super cool. The word but is exclusive, right? The word and is inclusive. And by turning that statement into a question, I realized that I could very simply open up the issue so that everybody has a chance to open up with a solution. Questions like global warming, bullying, big matters cannot be solved by one person alone. And that's what I did. I begged the question. And I chose blue. I specifically chose blue to beg it because I was thinking if it comes from blue, that would have an impact.